By now, most of you have seen the weedless Walk the Dog South plastic that I made. Built it with a big hook slot, designed to be rigged with a EWG swim bait hook, so you can walk the dog in shallow grass and shallow oyster. Really good walking and darting action, even turns back to the fish when you stop it. What I want to talk about now is how to walk the dog and get the right action out of this bait. Here's Lucius McElvey showing you how to walk the dog with a surface topwater. To get any lure to walk the dog, you want to have specific rod action. You want to pretend like there's a wall behind your rod. You actually want to drop the rod tip towards the lure, creating a little bit of slack or bow in the line, and then using the wrist, twitch the rod back up to where that wall is and stop. This is going to twitch the lure forward and then give it room to walk sideways. Walking the dog then becomes doing this rhythmically over and over and results in the lure walking side to side consistently. This is what the lure looks like when you're pulling the lure instead of doing a walk the dog twitch. After this video, you guys will be experts at walking the dog. I also find it's easier to walk the dog with a casting reel as compared to a spinning reel. With a spinning reel, you might have to focus down a little bit more to keep those short twitches and stay in contact with the bait. Another very important thing in order to walk the dog with a soft plastic is you must make sure the lure is rigged straight. Even if you have to stop and retwist the hook keeper and reinsert the hook into the slot through the back, that's super important to do to get the right action with these lures. And make sure the barb is nice and tight to the back, or you can skin hook that barb a little bit like we showed you in the rigging video. If it's rigged straight, it's going to look a lot like this. You'll notice the keeper goes straight into the bait, and there's no bulging of the lure to the right or the left. It's all in the line. And we're not burying the hook point deep into the plastic. Just barely skin hook it, if anything at all. Back to working the bait. As you develop a rhythm, doing this rod action over and over, you'll continually take up slack with the reel handle. So while I'm doing this, I'm walking the dog, twitching the rod, and I feel the fish hit, so I'll reel down to it and set the hook. You're going to see in all the catches in this video that I am setting the hook. I'm crossing their eyes. Now many of you are probably saying, well, Tobin, I've always heard you want to be really light and gentle with trout setting the hook, otherwise you'll tear their mouths. With these extra wide gap hooks, the hook is getting through bone and cartilage. It's not hooking in the skin and the top of the mouth like a jig head would. So even with trout, set the hook. One thing that's important to remember is you miss fish on all lures. Even the best topwater with 9 treble hooks will miss a fish. And even with the best, sharpest hook jig heads, you'll still miss a fish. With weedless baits, you're still going to miss a few fish, but the longer you use these type of baits, that hookup ratio will go up. Also, Scott Heim contributed that sometimes you just have to dust the new off of it. When something's new, you just don't have the total feel and command of it, but getting a really good hook set is all about having that feel and confidence in setting that hook. One thing I want to point out is how little energy I'm using to walk the dog. You want to just barely move the rod tip. This will cause this lure to walk a lot. But probably more importantly, it will allow you to feel more hits. With any subsurface walk the dog type lure, the bigger the amount of twitch that you're putting into these baits, the more chances that you'll miss fish. There's a little bit of a learning curve fishing subsurface walk the dog type lures, and this is one of the reasons. So just expect that you'll miss a few fish every once in a while because of this. But the more you fish these types of lures, you'll start to notice that you're getting more hits than using other type lures. And you'll become really confident and adept at feeling the fish hit even during twitching it and then reeling down and setting that hook. Back to how to walk the dog with a subsurface twitch bait. Most of the time I've got the rod in about a 10-10-30 position and my rod tip's only moving a couple of inches. But there's times that you'll find that you can drop the rod to the side, like here. I'm fishing the lure across the wind and I have my rod downwind and keeping that bow in the line super low. Another way to walk the dog is twitching the rod tip very low to the water. You'll notice this is the same rod action and rhythm. And here's Reverend Aaron signs with a little bit different presentation. This would be a good slow walk and then a pause. Another variation of this presentation would be a super fast erratic walk the dog. Here I'm twitching the rod tip very fast in little short twitches. This redfish actually hit when I was twitching it, and I paused to reel down and set the hook hard. One more method is to add in a slow rod pull and end it with a twitch. And here's a couple more presentations. In Lake Okeechobee, we were just reeling the lure through the grass and the bass were hitting it. Something else you can do to help your hookup ratio is go ahead and tighten the drag for the hook set and then back off if you have a big enough fish. Another way to do this is to thumb down on the spool for the hook set and then release that thumb after you've set the hook. My 5-pounder in Okeechobee just hit it on a straight retrieve. And as you see here, I'm backing off the drag after the hook set once I've got the fish more out in open water. With trout or a big red, I would back off the drag probably just as soon as I set the hook. On the flounder, I've had them hit everything from a super fast walk the dog twitch, or like David Foreman, Trail Chaser on YouTube, he's doing a slow walk the dog twitch.
Oh yeah. Little trout support lure working, isn't it? What is that, a flounder? Wow, that's a big old flounder. That is the second flounder I've caught on this trout support lure.
For those of you that are skipping docks and rocks, we want to look at the skipping cast for a second. It's more of a circular cast, releasing the lure at the very bottom of the cast, parallel to the water, low and tight to the water surface. A sidearm cast a little too high is going to bounce any lure up into the mangroves or up on top of the dock. So you'll notice here with Captain Josh Rubington, his cast is actually a tight circle releasing right at the water surface. That's it for today, guys. I'm going to leave you with some pics that some customers have already submitted of some of the catches that are already coming in on the bait.
Lure works good, Tobin. Catching some nice reds.